Hey everybody, today we're going to look at a quick lesson over the branches of geography. The one thing you need to know is that whenever you study geography, it's going to fall under one of two branches. It's either going to be human geography or physical geography. With human geography, that's when we study the people, whether it's in the past or in the present. Geographers look at location, how people are distributed across the earth, so that means where they decide to live, what they do with their lives, and their differences. Now, a few jobs you could have as a human geographer include political geography, where you look at political boundaries, governments of countries. You could be an economic geographer, where you look at the economy. That deals with what goods are produced, how they make money, how money's spent. You could be a cultural geographer, looking at the culture of people. So you could look at, religions, languages, their customs and traditions. And you could also be a population geographer, where they look at the populations of countries. What makes populations rise, what makes them decline, and the size of their numbers in total. In physical geography, that includes anything naturally occurring in the Earth. The actual definition, the study of Earth's natural landscapes and physical systems. So with this, geographers study different landforms, like the ones listed here, deserts, mountains, and plains. They also look at physical systems, so like weather patterns, natural disasters. And this way they have a better understanding of how landscapes change over time, and also how they have been formed. Now we're going to take a look at a few occupations or jobs you could have, and try and discuss how you could use geography for those jobs. So even though these four jobs here aren't listed as a geographer per se, you still have to know some sort of geography. For example, a taxi driver. You have to know your local geography in order to be an effective taxi driver. If you have a customer that comes in to your cab, needs a ride to a certain street, you better know where that street is, because if you didn't, you'd be a terrible taxi driver. If you're a grocery store manager, you would have to know a lot about human geography in order to have a successful grocery store. If you lived in India, you wouldn't want a grocery store that sold nothing but American food, because that's not who your local people are. You need to have products based on what your people want. For a military general, you need to know physical geography in order to plan out your next attack. If you're in some type of battle situation, you need to know the landscapes in order to figure out how to best outwit your enemy. And for a firefighter, it's kind of similar to a taxi driver. If you don't know your local geography, then getting to that fire is going to take you forever. And when as far as fires are concerned, every second counts. Now, as you go through school, if you enjoy geography, then you actually could have some sort of job as a geographer. In fact, in governments today, people are hired to study the environment. We have geographers that study things like pollution and how that affects people and animals in the landscape. Some geographers study endangered species, so if you like working with animals, you might want to have a career in that venture. And also rainforests. Lots of geographers study the rainforest. They study the impact people have on it, such as chopping the rainforest down. They study the endangered species in the rainforest itself. And so there are lots of different options. If you enjoy geography, you might also want to become a geography teacher. Some geographers write books, or help create atlases, which are books that have many maps inside of them. But geography is very important to our world, and that's why we study it very closely. Listed here are three other jobs you could have with geography. The first one, called cartography, that is the art and science of map making. So geographers use special tools, computers, to create maps that help us study the world more effectively. Different types of maps include political maps that show us capital cities and boundaries and maybe certain highways. Elevation maps show us the land and how it is distributed across the earth as far as elevation is concerned, whether it's above or below sea level. Another job you could have is meteorology. Meteorology is the field of forecasting rainfall and other atmospheric conditions. And you may not realize it, but you see meteorologists all the time. And they are your local, weather people. They are known as meteorologists. And whether they predict the weather accurately or not, that is still their job to see what happens, because, weather is unpredictable. And so they may not get it right every single time. And the last one listed here, climatology. Climatologists study landforms, like mountains and deserts. They know how they were formed, but they study them over time to see if erosion causes mountains to wear down. Some deserts may expand because of the drought conditions. They may expand and get bigger. And they just make sure that they keep a track of that, so that way they know how to accurately display them on maps. And that's it for the branches of geography. Rather short lesson today. And the next time we will look at culture. That'll be part of chapter 4. And we'll look at the culture of different people across the world and some of the vocabulary that goes along with that.